Hey, Scrapbook friends, it's Nicole from Nicole's Scrapbooks, and I'm here with the Christmas Charm project recipe for October 2024. I'm loving this opportunity that Creative Memories has given me to be a designer for the project recipes. I know what I like, and hopefully some of the things I like are also things that you like. So we're going to be using the paper and the stickers from Christmas Charm, along with the Ribbons and Bows Border Punch. This punch, I think, is going to be so versatile for so many projects. Of course, we're using it for Christmas, but can't you just see this for like baby shower, wedding, birthdays? Bows are just, we use bows for so many things. So this layout, I'm going to be doing it with Christmas Charm, but then I'm going to show it to you. I did it in a totally different theme with a different punch, and it came out just really cool. I'm excited to show that to you. So for this layout, we're going to use 4 pieces of paper. Now, if you're an advisor, you can print out the advisor guide. If not, you'll just have to look at this. But the contents of the kit are 4 pieces of paper, and you want 2 that are the same to be your backgrounds. And then you want one, frankly, I think you want one that's red to be the bows, and then you want one that's yellow or a contrasting color to be the other little boxes along the bottom. In order to make it from this collection, we had the green plaid as 2, the green kind of a vine. So this one was one of the others that I chose. And then I'm going today show you how to do it. I thought it turned out really cute with this little confetti piece. And then the other 2, you want some contrast so that your photo mats show up against the box or against the background. All right, so here in the project recipe guide, which you can get from your advisor on the Creative Memories website, or contact me and I can get it to you. It has a picture of the finished layout, position guide of how the pieces go together, and then it has the cutting guide. And these are really easy cuts. You're welcome. I wanted to make it as easy as I could for you. So for this one, I want to use this white with the speckles as my background, just to be different from the one that was dark green. And then I'm going to use the red plaid for the bows that I'm going to punch. And I was really supposed to use the other red. So if you look at this other red, I'll peel this off. This had like a little starburst pattern, but I used both pieces when I was trying to make the project recipe, so I don't have a second piece to show you. So I'm going to use this red. And then the other one they wanted me to use is the holly, but that's the back of this. And so I don't really want to use 2 of the same. So I'm going to use this green as my second piece. So you can use kind of whatever you want, but you want definitely to have a contrast between all the things that you're going to use. And then you have the option whether you want to use the front and back. Oh, wrong page. Okay. So what we're going to do is decide which is designer paper 1 and which is designer paper 2. And for me, I want the red one to be designer paper 1 because I want to punch that border out of red. And then we're going to have to punch some extra borders with this. Okay, so we're going to start with that, with punching the border. And this is a chain style border, so when we punch it, it's going to detach. And actually, it wouldn't look too probably terrible with the holly, maybe on a different background. So I'm going to line up right here with the black line on the punch. I feel like I've shown you this 100 times, but just in case, you want to start your paper at the black line. On either side, it doesn't matter. But that's going to make sure that you get a whole bow on your paper. Then make sure that you're holding it back against this little fence edge of the punch so that your punches are going to be straight. And then we're going to slide it over and make sure that we cover up all that blue design. And especially notice this little arrow right here. Since all of these bows are the same, it would be easy to get mixed up, especially when you get farther back in. So we're going to make sure we cover all of that and the little triangle to continue our punch. And so we're going to punch all the way down. Again, lining up the triangle, the blue design, and holding the paper against the fence. That's really important to keep it straight, because it is possible to line this up and not have that all the way to the back, and then that's just going to make your punch a little bit wonky and not straight when you get to the end. All right, so there's one. And because there is this little triangle here, instead of just punching the next one, you could either just trim that off with your scissors, but I'm just going to punch along the other side. It doesn't matter with this one because it's not directional. We just want the red bow. So I'm going to do the same thing, punching all the way down, lining up the design, especially that little triangle. All right, so I've got my two strips of bows. This is trash. And then we're going to cut 3 4x6 mats, and then we're going to do a little bit more punching with the 4th mat. And so this does have those little pointy edges, you know, from the triangle. So I'm just going to snip one side of that off just to give me a clean edge. And then I'm going to cut it at 4 inches. And 4 inches. This piece is going to be a scrap. You can use it for anything else or throw it away. And then we want to cut both of these at 6 inches. I'm going to stack them. You don't have to. We just want to cut right there at the 6-inch mark to give us our 3 4x6 mats. And then this one, we're going to punch again with the bows along both sides, and we're going to cut these apart later. So you might not need all of them, but you're going to need most of them. It does get a little bit harder as your paper gets skinnier to make sure you're in there all the way, but as long as you're close, you know. So this one I wasn't quite on, but it's not going to matter because we don't need this as a border. We're going to cut these guys apart. All right, so that is designer paper number 1. We're done with that for now, and we're done with the punch. So we'll close that up. And now designer paper 2, we're going to cut a whole bunch of mats. We need 6 that are 3 3/4 inches square, and then another that's 4x6, 4x3, and then these 2 that are 2x2. And actually, we may use the back on some of these, although I don't know if it's going to show up very well on that white paper. So you could always substitute cardstock for a couple of these pieces if you want. All right, 3 3/4. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut 2 3 3/4 inch by 12 strips. And then turn and cut them into 6 3 3/4 inch squares. That's also a scrap. Okay, and then this last piece is actually 4.5 inches wide, but we're going to cut it to 4x6 just for consistency. So we'll pull that out again. And then this one is going to be it's already 4 inches, so we're going to cut it at 3 inches to get a 4x3. And then this last little piece, we're going to cut it at 2 inches, and then turn and cut that piece again at 2 inches. So we have 2 2x2 squares, 1 3x4, the 1 4x6, and then the 6 that are 3.5 by 6.5. And then we're done with all our cutting. So now is the fun part, and that's the assembly. And if you wanted to, you could, of course, use the other side. I think this one, to me, is a little bit too busy. But maybe that's, you know, once you cover it up with some of these little squares, maybe you won't find that it's too busy. But I really liked the look of the kind of the whitish background here. And then you can follow this positioning guide on the project recipe itself. So we're going to take this one here, and actually, because this is white on white, I think I'm going to mix this up a little bit because these are all 4x6. I'm going to do like this. I'll use the back actually. And then we'll do, oops. All right, so the little threes are gonna go at the bottom. And so you really could, on this paper, you could get 10, 11, 12 pictures on here if you wanted to, depending on what you decide to use these for as far as photo boxes or journal mats. So if you do it like that. All right, but before you stick anything down, I suggest that you put your border punch down first and make sure that you have room for all of these pieces. Okay. And you can decide if you want the fronts or the backs of the, I really do kind of like that little argyle paper, but I feel like that's getting to be a bit much. So I'm going to use these squares and that, and I'm going to go ahead and put this down first. I'm going to use my repositionable adhesive, and I do have a silicone mat, but I don't know where it is. So I'm just going to use the back of one of these photo mats and just put a little repositionable adhesive. You don't have to cover the whole thing, just enough to get it stuck down, but I'm going to make sure that these are where I want them, just so I know that everything's going to fit. So make sure they're straight too. Okay. So then I'll put my bows down, and I like to use regular adhesive for my photo mats. Of course, if you're going to be adding photos to this later and you might want to move them around a little bit, you can always use the repositionable, but I like the regular. So the photos that fit in here are going to be 3.5-inch square photos. And that's going to give you just a little 1/8 of an inch border around each one. And then, like, I could do that. You can use the fronts and back however you like. I kind of like that with one red, maybe 2 reds. And I think I need another one of the holly just to tie that one in. So however you like. And just, of course, depending on the papers that you choose will be how you, how you position these, whatever looks good to you. Oops. And then these are going to be like little presents up here, kind of at the top, balancing on this other mat. So a little bit at an angle. And then we'll just repeat on the other side. But now, because we've already had the bow down on this side, it's going to be a little bit easier to decide where to put it. All right, but I'm still going to put these guys down so that I know I'm straight. And you can, of course, use like your 13 by 13 cutting mat to help make sure that your lines are straight if that's something that you're concerned about. All right, now we're going to stick our mats down. And you see why you want to have that contrast. I just think that the bow looks better. A little bit more of a gap in between these two. Just kind of space these guys evenly. And then we'll put our vertical photos in line with this one. And then this little guy right here. And then finally, you could put your pictures on at this point, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these little extra pieces of bows, and I'm going to cut a set of 3, a set of 2, and 3 singles. So let's see, let's zoom down a little bit. All right, so I'm going to use my microchip scissors, and I'm just going to cut just kind of in the same shape of that bow. 1, 2, 3. And because I'm doing that, I'm losing a little bit of the definition of the next bows. So that's why you want to have a little bit of extra. So then I'm going to take this one and cut 2. Oh, you can't see where I'm putting them. And then the last piece, I'm going to take 1. I'm going to take three individual bows. 1. And again, this one now I've kind of cut that edge off so it's not as pretty. I'm going to cut around. 2. And 3. All right. So what I'm doing here is I've got my 3, my 2, and then we'll put 1 on the top. All right. And so just so the little edges of the bow come down onto the present, and it kind of makes a little pyramid design. Okay, so here's our bow on the right hand side, and then we'll take our other 2 bows and put them on our 2 little presents on this side. I just think they look really cute. All right, and I do not have photos for this one right now. I just want to show you how to put it together. And then you can embellish with stickers if you like. I think just the bows actually do a good job if you don't have the stickers. But a little title right here, maybe some of the extra presents up here with this. If you had some tiny pictures, I think they would be very fun to put in here. You could use that for journaling. I chose to not put a picture on one of these and journaled. On this paper, I would have to put a journal box on here because it's too dark to see. But that is the Christmas Cheer project recipe. It has space for 10, maybe 11, maybe 12. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 photos if you wanted to do 13 photos. And I promised to show you this layout with not Christmas, and I hope that you will really like it as much as I do. This is a layout using Tropic Time, and it is from our Creative Memories Advisor trip to Mexico in April that I was fortunate enough to be on. And so I did the exact same project recipe, but I mixed it up just a little bit. I used the Tropic Time. I used the Monstera leaves border, and then I didn't punch that to be on the top because I used the little die cuts. But I think it looks just as good here. And you can see I did put the little 1 3/4 inch pictures up here in these little tiny boxes on the top. Use that for my journaling, and it gives a completely different look. But it's the same basic recipe. So just like in a cooking recipe, you can try it exactly the way the recipe calls for, or you can mix it up and do it your own way. So I hope that you will have a great time creating the Christmas Cheer project recipe. And I would love to hear in the comments if you choose to do it with a different paper pack, how it turns out. You can always reach me here in the comments at YouTube or on my Facebook page, Nicole's Scrapbooks. So thanks so much for watching, and happy scrapbooking.